Hi, I'm Samantha Church. You might know me from my website, smutmag.art, or you might know me from street performance, or you might know me from the theater or writing. I am, if you don't know me, I'm, you know, I'm an artist and I have spent the last 20 years working on creating sustainable art that can be conjured out of nothing, and that can be scaled to big or small, be made out of absolutely nothing. What's the least that you need to make something has been, my driving artistic focus, mostly because that's what I've always had to work with. And my feeling has always been that if we can't include people impoverished, people, who are marginalized and not let in to the public spaces. That if we can't have artists coming out of these spaces that speak to the people, what we will have is fascism. And, you know, I, I feel I have seen the point proved. So, but mostly that is just an introduction to who I am and why you should care about the next thing I'm about to say. So we're okay. So I have this thing written because off the cuff is really not the way to go, but like, I do want to riff a little bit. I'm not because I'm not a robot, and would like to relate with you guys a little bit and give you some context, because I'm just going to read the thing, and I, pre-wrote it, but I believe it. So if it sounds canned, it's because I'm reading. But okay. The housing crisis is a democracy crisis, and if we are too scared to help each other, we just aren't going to make it. Bad actors of all stripes want exactly that, to terrorize us into submission, so that we'll do their bidding and build their machines and work for them and give our money back to them and never be able to challenge them. And if you do, woe be unto you, right? But what am I saying? Well, we shouldn't be hopeless. This is what I'm saying. Because when we take up the mantle ourselves, suddenly we can get things done and solve problems on our own, and we can sustain in ways that, seems like you're always butting up against something when you go to nonprofits or when you go to the government, or when you go to corporations to get a job, or, all of these places that say that they will provide, time and time again, are really just kind of leading you around by the nose, no matter who they are. And, as an example, this is a riff, and it is a little bit political, I'm sorry, but like, what isn't, right? Gavin Newsom, we won't get into it, but he, has spent like upwards of $100,000 per head on fighting homelessness in California, and it's done like nothing. At a certain point, you have to think that they're really just not trying to spend that money in ways that actually eradicates the problem. Really, it's more about picking winners and losers and who to punish and who to try and control. And that's how help and aid tend to be distributed. It's not something you can really count on. But we can eradicate homelessness for 2 people and 3 cats with just $5,000. And yes, those 2 people and 3 cats are me and my mom, who are facing eviction right now, as we have many times before. But the housing crisis is a democracy crisis. The always out of reach rents and the difficulty in buying and building these things, certain areas and pockets of this country have made it easier, and certain areas have made it harder, and none of them have made it easy enough. But the fact is that we don't need to despair, because we can sustain each other if we don't run scared. And the quickest way to eradicate fear is to take direct action. I'm begging you to help me make this goal as quickly as possible, because we are very afraid of what might befall us if we become homeless. Once upon a time, I would not have been as fearful in California, but now I am. I've seen and talked to the politicians close, and they are not here to help us. Not even here, not even the Democrats. They just are not going to be of help for whatever reason. So the thing about it, though, is that, like, we're on this teetering spot where it's like things are either about to get very, very bad, or the whole reason I moved here and, you know, what I've been trying to work towards, I moved here right before COVID started, and, you know, the world's been shaken a few times since then, but the whole point was to try and create a sustainable life with some of the, you know, beautiful land that we have in this area that is still affordable, and, you know, try and sculpt what it looks like for artists to self-sustain, and that way they don't have to be dependent on corporations and can say the truth and not just, you know, fit it in. So, blah, blah, blah. We're very, very poor. We're about to be homeless, and we really have to get out of this crisis immediately. And I have found a way to get out of it permanently. You know, I can get this land and trailers and towing to get there for like around $5,000. Of course, more is better. But it's building from there. I can't really do anything below that, and I can change the whole trajectory with it. So unfortunately, there's just not a lot of help available, and everybody is very scared about where to put their money and how can I let you have, you know. But the thing is that the more people fall off, the more unstable this all becomes, and then there is no help and there is no hope. But like, I'm telling you, we're good ones to have on the team for the apocalypse. The whole point of my life has been trying to figure out how to sustain when you have very, very little. And, you know, it's prepared us for the day-to-day of what we're about to face. But, like, we just have this little hump to get over, and it's crucial we get over it. So I have a lot of emotions. A lot of them come out of as anger a lot of the time. And anger's in there, for sure. So I do apologize if there's any kind of tense or hostile tone. Understand the pressure that I'm under. And please, you know, if you want to know, like, what should I help you? Check out my other videos, see some of my work, go to samanthachurch.bandcamp.com and hear my music. You know, no matter what is going on, I'm always working to put out something that is real and human. That's really my goal. So anyway, I hope it's all worth it. And I hope that we can continue it, and that you want me to continue it, and that you don't want me to die in a gutter or any of the other things that might happen. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please be as generous as you can, and you will always have space at my home once